Hi, my name is Ross and I'm a client of Merrill Lund's. Previous to meeting Merrill, I had no knowledge of Merrill or his services. It was a friend of mine who directed me to Neuromuscular Therapy, and I simply Googled NMT near me, and one of the search hits that came up was Merrill's. I looked at some of the reviews online and they were very positive, so I thought, why not? I had come down from the north on a 3-hour flight in October and woke up the next morning and could not get out of bed. My back was extremely painful upon standing, and it turns out that it was even more painful upon sitting. I went to see a chiropractor. I had several visits with this chiropractor with no relief at all. I went to see a second chiropractor to no relief at all. So I went to see a medical doctor. And the medical doctor gave me muscle relaxants and told me to go to physical therapy and to have an MRI done. And after 10 visits to minimal help with the physical therapy and the MRI showing you need to go see a neurosurgeon, that's when I decided to look for additional help and found Merrill. On the day that I met Merrill, I could not walk without pain. Merrill's on the second floor, and to get up the stairs, I had to pull myself up the railing. The pain upon trying to walk up was excruciating. I did find out the next day Merrill has an elevator here. um, and I had two complaints. One was lower back pain, your typical right at the belt line, lower back pain, and in addition, shooting pains down both legs, front and back. Merrill was very thorough when I came in. He lined me up on the wall. He started to measure various points on my body, from my ankles to my knees, from my knees to my hips, from my hips to my shoulders to my ears. Had me turn every which way as he looked at the alignment of my spine and the way I was standing. After probably 20 to 30 minutes of that analysis, he said, not only do I know what's wrong with you, I can fix it. And I was very impressed. It turned out that he found that everybody else has dismissed that I had a short left leg. To be positive of his findings, he was thorough enough to send me to for an X-ray, which proved out that I had a short left leg by some number of centimeters. And suggested that I put lifts in my left shoe, which bore immediate results. In addition to that, I started to undergo NMT therapy, and I saw immediate results. The way I would describe it is the next day I could walk 200 yards without pain. Then the pain would start again as I was walking. And just to backtrack, it took about 2 weeks to get these lifts. So for the first 2 weeks, I didn't have the lift helping the therapy that Merrill was performing. But immediately the next day after the first therapy, I was able to walk 200 yards straight on flat ground. The pain in my back was still there, but not as prevalent, and the shooting pains down my legs, instead of being there constantly, were now occasional, and by occasional they were happening a lot. After 3 visits with Merrill, I noticed that the pain in my legs wasn't shooting any longer. It would be very occasional. When I get up from a chair, I would feel the shooting pain. And the back pain started to decrease very quickly. Within 2 weeks, I was able to walk, get in a car, start to walk upstairs, still pulling myself in the railing, but with minimal pain. And within a month of the initial treatment, the pain in my legs stopped, the pain in my back stopped. I had the lift put in, so I'm sure that helped as well. And I started to feel very good for days at a time. So we moved the appointments out to 1 a week, and felt after 6 days I was ready to see Merrill again. And after a couple of weeks of that, we moved the therapies out to every 2 weeks, and on about day 13, I'm ready to see Merrill. At the end of the day, this is now May, so I've seen Merrill for a little less than 5 months, probably 4 months. I see Merrill once every 2 weeks, and I call it maintenance. I think about 2 appointments ago, Merrill said, "Why are you still coming here?" I think we're good. But since I'm heading up north in 2 weeks, I thought that let's continue this every 2 weeks until I move back up north, and I think it's working out fine. So fine, in fact, that what I asked Merrill to do is look at something that's been plaguing me for 60 years, migraine headaches. And Merrill said, I think I can help. And he was right. Right after the first appointment, I noticed that my migraine headaches were coming at much less frequency and much less severity. I asked Merrill this next week to continue his therapy, and again I noticed much less frequency and much less severity. Thinking that, well, it's only been a couple of weeks, let's see how it goes. It has been approximately 1 month now, and I am still seeing much less severe headaches, much less frequency. And I have to attribute that to Merrill's therapy. I've tried every therapy imaginable, from chiropractic to faith healing to drug therapy to acupuncture. The list goes on and on and on. And I can never say that I have gone 1 month without less severity and less frequency of the migraine headaches.
For 60 years.
For 60 years, exactly. So in summary, I highly recommend Merrill's services. I will come back to see Merrill when I come back down south next winter. He is very thorough. He listens, and that's the other thing I wanted to mention. Merrill listened to my complaints. Every person I sit in front of listens to my complaints, and then they do what they think they have the preconceived notion that they should do. Merrill listened to my complaints, asked me to demonstrate my complaints, and then acted on my complaints, all the while asking, do you think I'm in the right areas? Am I working the right areas? And following up in my next appointment with, last appointment, your complaint was this. Is it still this? Has it changed in any way? How has your week been? And as I point out to Merrill that, well, I do have a little bit of pain in my, right side when I first get up out of bed or out of a chair. He then works on that side, and I can email him the next day and say, you got it right, because I got out of bed this morning or got out of the chair and had no pain.
Thank you. Do you want to show us both your shoes?
Yes.
Would you mind?
Yes.
So we can see that the one sole is a little bit thicker than the other one.
Correct. So if you look
Not sure
at
if this will get too close at all.
if you look at the left sole, you can see that there was a 9 centimeter
Millimeter.
lift, 9 millimeter lift placed in the sole, and the right shoe was left untouched. This has helped me tremendously in my balance, and I found zero after effects of, for example, tripping over myself, because now this one is higher than what it used to be.
Yes.
Merrill
Sometimes stepping up on a curb when you've got a lift and you have to be consciously lift that leg more, but it was a smooth transition, you're saying?
Yes, very, very smooth transition. I've had more problems when I get a new pair of glasses going up and down stairs and up onto sidewalks and things like that than I had with this. I have a pair of my Sunday shoes, I call them, that have been done, and I have 2 pairs of sneakers that have had lifts put in them. And I can feel the difference when I golf. I have yet to have golf shoes lifted, and I can feel the difference when I golf. Along about hole number 9, my back starts feeling a little bit out of sorts, and by the end of the day, I realized that without the lifts in the golf shoes, I realized halfway through my game that, hey, my back is starting to hurt. I'm not lifting the ball off the tee as well as I could when I first started, when I first took off my sneakers with the lifts and put the golf shoes on. And by the end of the game, when I sit down at the 19th hole, when I stand up, I feel that same back pain come back to me, not as severe, but I can feel the belt line, back pain, and back pain on each hip that I felt prior to the lifts. So I do need to have the golf shoes done, but I just have not had that done. Now, when I get up in the morning, instead of putting slippers on, I put my shoes on, even if I'm walking around the house, because I do find that it makes that much of a difference.
Yeah. Russell, you had mentioned that you were on drugs when you first came in.
Yes, that's correct. When I went to see the medical doctor, she put me on muscle relaxers. She put me on 800 milligrams of Motrin. I was also taking lidocaine back patches that I put on my back overnight, or for 12 hours at a time. And the muscle relaxers had zero effect. The Motrin did seem to help, but after 8 hours, the back pain, came back, and the patches provided limited relief as well. After one session with Merrill, I stopped taking the muscle relaxers. I stopped taking the Motrin. I was still taking Tylenol and an ibuprofen based pain reliever, and now I no longer take anything. There's no requirement for any type of pain relief at all.
Sounds wonderful.
Yes, I'm very happy.